Hey everyone, this is Cassie Green, Content Director of Apparelist and Editor at Printing United Alliance.
And this is Christine Shreve, founder of the Women in Garment Decoration Facebook group.
And you're listening to Threads of Change, a new kind of discussion for the printing industry.
It's time to talk about how we can inspire change. Our conversations will feature topics such as how we can build a more diverse environment at trade shows, what resources are needed to support underrepresented communities, and more.
We might be tackling some tough topics, but we're hoping you'll join us on this journey to be the change we want to see in the industry.
Come along with us. The next episode starts right now.
Well, what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us for another episode of Threads of Change. We are here to tackle some of the tough topics, but also some of the very enjoyable topics in the printing industry. We like to talk about everything from mental health to inclusivity to working as an underrepresented minority in the industry. Christine and I have always had a lot of fun recording these episodes. We've had some really powerful episodes in the past. If you haven't listened to those, head on over to the apparelist.com podcast page where you can check out our previous episodes. Christine, I'm really excited today because two of my very dear friends and colleagues, Elise Carr and Dan Marx at Printing United Alliance, are joining us.
I'm very excited about this, not only because of the topic, but it's nice to have people from your side of the industry. For most of the episodes so far have been people that I knew more than you. So this is fun.
I love it. Yeah, no, and you know what? It's been really fun connecting with some of the people that you've known very well over the years and have told very powerful stories. And yeah, Elise and Dan have some pretty powerful stuff going on as well. So Elise and Dan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and it's been fun getting to know you both on kind of a personal level. But let's just start. Give our audience, Elise, maybe you can go first with a little introduction, background. What's your experience? What do you do at the Alliance?
So this is my 20th year in the printing industry. I've spent all 20 years on the editorial staff at NAPCO Media, which was acquired by Printing United Alliance a few years ago. I started on a publication called BFL&S, Business Forms, Labels, and Systems magazine. So try saying that, a couple of times on the phone when you're calling. I started as a production editor. So over time, it went through several rebrands, finally landing on print and promo marketing. And I had a collection of titles throughout. Today, I hold two roles. I'm the managing editor of Printing United Journal, the quarterly publication of the Alliance. And I'm also the special projects editor for the editorial group. So basically, I oversee production for our custom projects, including partner voices, white papers, and video testimonials to make sure they're delivered on time and meet our clients' expectations.
So overall, just badass? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's the word on the street now.
I love it.
Dan, how about you?
I'm coming up on 35 years in the industry. I started at SPAI, which was the Screen Printing Association International, which became SGIA, which became Printing United Alliance. I'm now serving as content director for Wide Format Impressions, which is one of the Alliance's media brands. Go check it out. And from a personal standpoint, I'm kind of where I want to be in my career, which is a really nice place to be. So, and part of that is that the job allows me a certain amount of flexibility, which is absolutely invaluable for what we'll be getting into. And I recognize not everyone has that. So I feel happy about where my career is.
Oh, man, I love that.
I love that. Well, I want to segue into what Dan was just referring to, which is needing a little more flexibility. The reason that Dan and Elise are both with us today is that they have children who have special needs or a disability of some kind. And we wanted to talk about this because it kind of has demands that come with that. I'm sure there's a lot of blessings that come with that too, but there are demands. So what I want to ask is, whatever you're comfortable sharing, can you give us a little insight into your home life and If you feel comfortable sharing just some details about what the disability is that your child is dealing with, we would like to hear that. And what does day-to-day life look like? And I'm going to start with Dan this time, just to make sure we're fair.
All right. Well, my wife Heather and I both work from home. She has worked from home since 2007, just after our son Julian was born. I've worked from home since 2017 when we relocated from the Washington, D.C. area out to Colorado, where we live now. We made that move because we were seeking kind of a better life that fit our family's unique needs. And it has turned out to have been a
Mhm.
fantastic and needed change that we had. About home life can be chaotic. Our son, Julian, he has autism, he is non speaking, and also has a seizure disorder, and needs support in his daily needs. And he also needs support in being able to communicate. Some of that role falls to caregivers, and some of it, as parents and people who are responsible for him 24/7, falls to us as the parents. So I think the other thing about our home life is having a child with a disability can be isolating for families.
Mhm.
So, as a family, we really strive to be out in the community. We travel, we get out, we do things, and we strive to have good lives for all three of us. We want Julian to have a good life, but I believe we're only here once. So, I think it's important to enjoy life while you're living.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely agree with that. Definitely. Okay, Elise, if you'd like to share a little bit.
Sure. I have an almost 7-year-old son, Damien, who is on the autism spectrum. He also has sensory processing disorder, ADHD, and some learning disabilities. He's truly one of my lights in this world. He has the best smile, the best laugh, but he does need one-to-one support with most tasks, daily things that we take for granted. I'll keep it real. Things like toothbrushing and toileting and getting dressed. He's an eloper, so that means he might wander off.
Mm.
He has no sense of danger, so he needs to be watched at all times. He's in a self-contained autism class in the public school system where he receives physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech. And he, like Julian, is also considered nonverbal. He does have a device, but he's younger and he does not really use the device appropriately. He's very fascinated with electronic devices, so it's a lot of pushing buttons and not using it appropriately. So he does communicate, with a we can understand what he's saying, and he has ways of communicating that are different from how you and I would communicate.
Mhm.
And he can strand together a few words here and there, and he does a lot of scripting. He loves to sing. He sings from that boy has a song in his heart. He sings from the time he gets up to the time he goes to bed. So that is our routine. I work from home. My husband was working from home during the pandemic, but he goes into the office 3 days a week now. So I think we're gonna get into our routine in a little bit later about how we balance it out. But that's basically our situation with Damien.
Something that really stands out to me that both of you just said is, Elise, you said he's a light. Dan, you said we want Julian to have the best life.
Mhm.
I think that that sort of automatically debunks this stigma that it has to be this, like, yes, it's
Mhm.
tough, but you guys both obviously find a ton of joy with your children. You
Mhm.
love having the family dynamic that you have. It's so cool to hear that. I mean, it just makes me smile listening to both of you talk about the
Mhm.
love and the passion that you both have and your children both have.
Yeah.
Just
um,
super.
to add to that, yeah, I mean, um, we have the child we have, and he's delightful. So, we are proud parents. So that's just the reality of our family.
And I have to say, because so Dan and I, little backstory for our listeners, Dan and I both live in Colorado. So we've gotten to enjoy Christmas get togethers. We've got to enjoy lunch together. And Dan has shared some really amazing stories. First of all, Julian has like the most beautiful hair I've ever seen, and I'm mad jealous. But also, like some of the things that Julian has accomplished are just unreal. It gives me goosebumps. Like some of the things that Dan has, stories he's shared, and even Elise, on the rare occasion Elise and I get to see each other in person, some of the stories that you all share is just unbelievable. Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Elise had
Pretty
mentioned
cool to
her
hear.
son
Well,
communicates using a device. My son speaks by pointing at letters on a letterboard. Communication is spelled, and simple tool has allowed him to finish high school. He's taking college classes now, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But
wonderful.
it's amazing. It's great.
Well, I want to touch on that just a little bit. This is the first segue, so hold on, here we go. But I have a friend who has a special needs child who's an eloper, Elise, so that was
Mhm.
very familiar to me. But one of the things that I want to touch on just a little bit is not necessarily the resources, but the options that perhaps are available now for kids to communicate with electronic devices. If you have an eloper, there are locks you can get, there are alarms you can get there. And I understand that that doesn't eliminate the problem. But I guess my question is, does it help? Does it make it a little easier? I don't know. I guess that's a question. I guess if I was someone who was new to dealing with a special needs child, I would like to know, are do the options not make it simpler, but maybe make coping with some of the challenges a little easier? Am I asking the right question? If I'm not, tell me I'm not.
You probably get different opinions on all the different devices from people as well.
Mm-hmm.
The issue with my son is because he has sensory processing disorder. Some of these tools you would attach to an article of clothing, for example, and he won't tolerate that.
Right,
He won't
right.
wear a hat on his head. So something like that would be out. But it's a matter of finding the right fit, and there are
Yeah,
special
yeah.
groups on Facebooks where you can get, because it's very overwhelming, like all of the things on the market and just all the avenues you can explore and everything that's out there. And you can get a lot of great firsthand advice and real world experience from these types of devices. And of course, it's in his IEP that he is an eloper at school, so they are aware of that and they know to keep an extra close eye on him.
Mm-hmm.
You have to spell everything out. That's I'll talk about that too. That's like a second job. Stay and Dan knows that as
Mhm.
well, and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Spelling out every little detail you can think of, like getting it in that IEP so that it is, mandated.
I think Elise hit on it a little bit. That was more of the question that I wanted to ask. Are there resources that you use, either tools or groups or something that give you a sense of connection and maybe a sense of support, if that makes sense?
Like Dan said, Dan and I have talked about this. He said it can be an isolating life, and it is
Mm-hmm.
because Dan and I, our children are on the autism spectrum. They have similarities. They have big differences too. Like we don't have the same problems, but we do have a lot of crossover as well. So then imagine talking to, sometimes you don't want to talk about autism,
Mm.
and you want to talk about something like your normal hobbies if you still have time to do them with friends, but you might be having a bad day and that friend, maybe they can empathize to the point if they're an empathetic person, but it's hard to relate. My husband and I,
Mm.
we have to drive separate cars to parties, like if it's a family party, because we don't know what Damien's is going to be like that day. He doesn't play with toys. He might just walk around aimlessly and he might want to leave like 5 minutes after we arrive, or we might be able to occupy him for 40 minutes. I don't know. But we have to turn down a lot of things, or just we can't do things as a family. But to put a positive spin on that, we did just have a great trip to Disney World that I've
Oh, awesome.
Cassie and Dan about. It was we didn't know how it was gonna go. We drove down, and Damien, he does love the thrill
Mhm.
rides, and it's funny saying thrill rides are about Disney World, but the faster the better. So that was a win that we really needed as a family, and it was just so amazing to be able to do something together because I have a daughter as well. So Damien's not my only child, so I have her to consider on top of
Mhm.
things.
I think to go with what Christine, what you said about our resources. I think Elise was talking about, talking to a friend who can empathize. There are a lot of people who can empathize, but they don't understand. And that's
Yes,
where
right.
having people who are peers in this type of life
Mm-hmm.
is so essential. Elise and I found each other. We work somewhat together, so that's good. But my wife and I have a friend who has a daughter who presents very much like Julian does, but she's 10 years older. And as he was little, she was a great mentor to us and helped us understand what our path
Mm-hmm.
would be, where we were going. And she's like, it gets better. And I think I've told Elise that too. Like, as
You
as
have.
these kids become young adults, they regulate, they slow down a little bit. The chaos level starts to come down, and that feels like somewhat of a salvation. Even then, people come over to our house and they say, "I don't know how you guys do it," right? As if we're like
Mm-hmm.
superheroes or something. But we're doing what anybody else would do in that situation. You have no choice. You make the best of it, and you find the people who can support you in whatever way you need to be supported.
Printing United Expo is where the entire printing industry unites under one roof. Explore cutting edge technology from over 800 exhibitors, see live product demonstrations, and discover solutions that can transform your business. With exclusive education sessions, expert insights, and endless networking opportunities, this is the must attend event for anyone in print. No matter your role, Printing United Expo delivers the innovation, connections, and knowledge to help you stay ahead. Join us this October 22nd to 24th in Orlando. Learn more at printunited.com and experience the future of print today.
Well, I
Wow.
just got to say thank you to both of you because I asked you a really rotten question and you did beautifully with it. So I appreciate you. I knew where I was going and I wanted exactly what you told me, but I didn't phrase it very
Okay,
well. So thank you for saving me from a bad
no problem.
If you say so.
Um, Something I wanted, Christine and I wanted to build on a little bit is looking at, and both of you have started to touch on this a little bit.
Mhm.
What did it like to have a career? So let's back up a little bit. Having a career as a working parent already comes with challenges, right?
Mhm.
Knowing how to have that work-life balance can be really tough. One of the things we were talking about before we started recording this episode is I am very guilty of when I go on quote unquote vacation, I bring my laptop with me. And Elise has yelled at me about this before. She's like, "Aren't you on vacation? Why are you working and responding to stuff?" And so like that's something we can totally unpack. But now talking today about being a working parent with a full-blown career, and both of you, by the way, are very successful at your career, but you do have a child with special needs. And so that balance is probably is different, for everybody, but for you guys in particular, Dan, you and I have talked about this. Can you walk us through how you and your wife like manage that balance between the personal life, your careers, and being at home and providing Julian the support
Hmm.
he needs?
Well, I think as parents, my wife Heather and I have different strengths as parents, and sometimes because of whatever situation or whatever's happening, more of it falls to me, more of it falls to her. But we are really committed to sharing and tag teaming and being there for each other. A quick example, like we go to a party or something that a friend has, and we kind of, without even talking about it, tag team with Julian so each person can get some time to enjoy. So that's a basic reality. But in the workday, there is always the chance that like a well-intentioned day, one of those where you're like, God, I'm going to get so much done today. I'm just going to crush it. And in my son's case, you get a call at 10 in the morning. Julian has a seizure. The ambulance is on the way. You need to come here. So you drop everything. You respond to the priority, which is the child, and see what happens, right? So that's difficult. The other thing I would add to that is, we both have careers. We both travel for work, which can be incredibly intense for the one who is not out of town. And, our jobs are high priorities for us. We take them very seriously. But we have this child, and he has to be on top. And he will be our responsibility for a good long time. So I think for people listening, I think it's also important to remember that most of us will have situations where we need to care for someone else during our lives. That might be a sick child or a spouse, a declining parent. But the situation that, myself and Elise and other people like us are in is that this caregiving role isn't temporary. I tell people it's a marathon, not a sprint. And his reality will continue when Heather and I are gone. So that's heavy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's definitely heavy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And just one more,
Yeah, you got to sit with that one for a minute.
Yeah,
right. And
yeah.
just one more point. Having a child with a disability can be hard, but I think we would both agree, and we've talked about this, that this experience has made us better people. We are more patient. We're more empathetic. We certainly recognize the need for inclusion in our society. And we firmly believe that people who are disabled are just as deserving as having a good life as anyone else. Like we're all human. So that's part of the role. And Heather and I both in our own way are disability advocates. We try to let the world know that there's change that can be made and there are lives that can be improved.
Yeah.
Definitely.
For sure.
I
I guess sort of similar question for you, Elise, but you brought this up earlier. You also have a daughter, and so you have
Yeah.
her to consider. So your balance maybe looks even a little bit different. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes, first there's an age difference between them. She's turning 11 next week. She's
Okay.
graduating elementary school. She's in the gifted and talented program, so the way they learn couldn't be it's for lack of a better word, like opposite sides of the spectrum with just how they learn with their capabilities, with their age differences. They do interact now a little bit, and I know she loves that so much. But a lot of times it is like she is an only child, and a lot of our attention has to go to her brother. So we make special time to maybe like on a Saturday I'll take her out to lunch, or another time my husband will take her to the museum, or just so she gets some one-on-one time away, like out of this crazy house. And but yeah, but like the days it gets a little crazy. Just how we split it up. My husband has the more demanding job. I've admittedly my roles have changed and have had to because of, parenting a child with special needs, and having another child on top of that as well. My husband, we are a team as well, but my job is more flexible, allows me to do more things. He handles the morning, so he'll get Damien ready in the morning, like he'll give him breakfast, get him on the bus for school. Even if it's a day that he's home, he's in meetings from morning to end of day. And then I get Damien off the bus in the afternoon, but the workday doesn't stop at 2:30, 3 o'clock. So that's a problem. So what I try to do is I save my tasks that don't require as much, like that wouldn't be writing, for example, like just something more mindless that I can and focus on while he's running around and requesting songs, and who knows what he's doing. And my daughter, she's more independent, but she is a child still, and just like any child, she has emotional needs that need to be met. And she has anxiety as well. She's a little perfectionist like her mom. We try to worry her. But we try to. She talks to somebody about her feelings because we try to promote that feelings are healthy and we should express them. Sometimes big feelings can be tough. So you know, it's yeah. We've been talking about a lot of different heavy things. I'm still stuck on the comment that Dan was talking about earlier about how life continues after in him and Heather, and my case, myself and my husband John. That's something that I think about too, and I think about that for my daughter. I want her to have her own life as well. I want her to
Mhm.
go to school and have her own career if that's what she chooses to do, and I don't want it to automatically fall on her because she's the sibling. I feel like I'm all over the place, but this kind of ties in together at the same time. So,
No, I think what you're actually doing is giving us the reality of having a child
right.
with special needs, which is there's a lot of amazing stuff and
Mhm.
there's some stuff that's really kind of sobering
Mhm.
and hard. And
Yeah,
that's what we wanted. So I appreciate both of you so much for being honest about it.
no
Exactly.
problem. And I also do, because I step back too, I'm the project manager of the house, I call myself. So I will handle all the stuff with school, whether it's with the case manager or the principal or the study team, the therapist, the teachers, the paraprofessionals, the bus drivers, the outside therapy. We're not currently doing some of that right now, but we have. So just project managing all of that is like a job in its own right. I'm not gonna lie, it's very hard, and it's very hard to balance your day job with this job because it's like having multiple jobs at the same time.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot,
It's,
definitely.
mhm.
Well, I want to segue real quick just because we're getting down to the end of our time together. And I feel like I should sing a little song about I'm so glad we had this time
Mhm.
together. But anyway, I want to talk for just a second about we touched on this briefly, but is there a tool or a support system or a resource that you find especially valuable that you would recommend to other people who may be dealing with similar situations? Because I think that's always helpful. If, just what do you find that has worked for you that maybe someone else could discover and find will work for them?
The list is long. We've had 18 years of this, but I'll try to make it short. We've had the advantage of a school district that was very cooperative in working with Julian and including him in general education classes, and he got his high school diploma, and he worked his ass off, and we worked our asses off helping him get to that point. In fact, I'm I'm unable to sit because I have no ass left. So, as his parents, we make sure to have periodic respite care. That's date nights, time to see friends, time to recharge. And in so doing, you come back the next day able to face the challenges more gracefully.
Mhm.
Heather and I both allow each other time to pursue what we want to pursue in our lives. Heather has become obsessed with pickleball recently. And me, I've
I
started
love
playing music again, so that's a nice thing. And then finally, there are, state and federal programs that benefit disabled people. Those are
Mhm.
invaluable. So this will be, in some cases, Julian's lifeline, as long as it's not taken away. And then,
Mhm.
others should learn to take advantage of those. It involves navigating red tape, but fortunately, my wife is very good at that. I am lost, but people should take advantage of those benefits because that is why they are there, and
Mhm.
that is and getting those in place early is the best thing you can do.
I like that. What about you, Elise?
I don't have too much to add because I do lack in this area, and I've talked to Dan about it. The respite care sounds great, but I don't have it. We don't have sets of grandparents to babysit. Unfortunately, they're deceased, or the one living one is not in good health. We don't have a family support because when everyone's like, you need a village, you need support, is the big thing I hear, or when I hear other people talking about a similar topic on a podcast, having a support system. And my question was, well, that's great, but what do you do when you don't have a support system? And I don't have an answer
Yeah.
for that. And I'm searching for that answer. But like Dan said, there are state programs that vary state to state. I really need to sign up for Perform Care. I am not. I've slacked on that, but I would love the respite care, just to, be able to go to dinner with my husband. That would be nice because right now one of my brothers I do rely on, but it's only very sparingly because he works two jobs and is married, and you know, it's yeah, it's hard. So I don't have too much to add, but what Dan said is correct.
Definitely.
That's okay too, because I think sometimes the support system is just letting somebody hear
Yep.
you out. Sometimes you just need to say some things and just get it off your
Yeah.
chest, and
Yeah.
you know, so I understand that. But Dan and Elise, we are coming to the end of our show. This has been wow. There's a lot to
Yeah.
sit with, but also a lot to hope for, I feel like. And I truly believe that there is going to be at least one person listening to this who is going to find something very helpful, very inspiring, very powerful in what you both shared. So thank you for
You're
talking about it.
welcome.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
there are a
Yeah.
lot of us out there.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, yeah, be sure to check out not only Dan and Elise's awesome publications, little shameless plug here for wide format impressions, United Journal, all that stuff. But be sure to check out full list. Like we said, Threads of Change podcast lives on the Apparelist page. You can go over there and find all of our episodes. Christine is, I feel like, everywhere right now, so you can connect with
Am I
her.
everywhere? You're making me sound like a virus.
No, I'm making you sound like a powerhouse
Or a
lady
god, right?
that we love having in the industry. So, but awesome. Dan and Elise, thank you so much for joining us for
Thank
this
you.
episode. We really
Oh,
appreciate
thank
it.
you for
Yeah,
having
thanks so much.
me.
Hey everyone, this is Cassie Green, Content Director of Apparelist and Editor at Printing United Alliance.
And this is Christine Shreve, founder of the Women in Garment Decoration Facebook group.
And you're listening to Threads of Change, a new kind of discussion for the printing industry.
It's time to talk about how we can inspire change. Our conversations will feature topics such as how we can build a more diverse environment at trade shows, what resources are needed to support underrepresented communities, and more.
We might be tackling some tough topics, but we're hoping you'll join us on this journey to be the change we want to see in the industry.